What's going on, people? Today is the 21st anniversary of One Piece, the third best selling comic of all time, and the best selling manga of all time. And it has been a journey that will be continuing for at least another 6 to 7 years. Oda actually just said that it was 80% complete. Do the math, that's about 6 to 7 years. And I'm very excited to see where the series is going to go. And I'm just proud to have actually read this series and see what it has done and what it has accomplished after all these years. And Eiichiro Oda, I'm not going to call him Goda, but I will say that he goes above and beyond what typical shonen writers have done. And he is probably the most prolific. Others I could say is maybe Araki. Araki definitely, JoJo's 30 years old right now. But what Araki does is he does the different time skips and different casts. He pretty much does a different series every part. While Oda, he stuck with the same cast and built upon that cast, for 21 years. I'm 22. I was 1 year old when One Piece came out. There's people who are watching and reading One Piece right now that are younger than the actual series. And there's people, let's say a 10-year-old started in 97. He'd be 31 right now. And when One Piece is done, he'll be pushing 40, that kid. So imagine being that reader in Shonen Jump, reading One Piece weekly all those times. One Piece is longer than a lot of people's lifespans, unfortunately. And one crazy thing about One Piece is that revelations take longer than entire series. The revelation of Sanji's backstory from 1998 to when Sanji was introduced in Baratie to Whole Cake Island, which was around 2016 or 15 maybe, that is still over 15 years. So the Sanji revelation was longer than Naruto and Bleach as a series. Think about that. And that's one crazy thing about Oda, like I mentioned earlier. He takes his time. He's not rushing things. You could say part of that is because he's always number one in the polls. He's Shonen Jump's moneymaker. They're not going to tell him no. He gets crazy cover space. He always has space on the cover. One Piece, Luffy. He always has a color spread. That's because people want to see it. It is that popular in Japan. And the only two comics beating One Piece are Superman and Batman. And they've been around since 38 and 39, around there. And One Piece has accomplished nearly the amount of sales as Batman. It's 60 million or so behind. It's accomplished that in how little time? Also, you gotta think that it's weekly. One Piece is weekly. Batman, it's monthly, but they got multiple Batman comic lines. They got like 5 running out of time. But that's one thing I appreciate about Oda that separates him from others. Other mangaka, which is manga authors, they usually fall off at the 10-year mark. Usually. Just take a look at Bleach. After Aizen died, that's when most people say it went downhill. Naruto, the Great Ninja War, that was really 11 years. That's when Naruto began to decline. You got Yu Yu Hakusho, which was only I think it was only out for 4 or 5 years. People consider that a perfect series. He didn't drag it out too long. And Hunter x Hunter, yes, I said X, that is going on hiatus constantly. And that's what people consider to be the best written battle shonen ever, Hunter x Hunter, besides One Piece. And he's taking breaks. He's coming up with crappy art. And it's a shame. But the working conditions in Japan are crazy. And that's what makes me appreciate Oda even more. Oda, he's pretty much worked himself to death. I'm pretty sure he's drawing in the hospital like the dude from Bakuman. And years ago, he was actually 3 chapters ahead of schedule. I don't think that's the case now because he has to take a break every week. And he needs that break. So all I'm going to say is thank you, Oda, for giving us so many arcs in this amount of time, so many characters in this amount of time, so many creative powers in this amount of time, so many revelations, and so much buildup. The Doflamingo buildup. He was introduced in what 2002 in Jaya, only to get his own arc in 2013 with Dressrosa. Stuff like that is what makes One Piece great. To me, a lot of the arcs in One Piece themselves, they're cool. To be honest, the East Blue Saga, the arcs were good. Arlong Park and Baratie maybe sevens or eights. But just the way he ties things together. Hell, even in Syrup Village, when we see that Jack, the axe hand Morgan, his freaking jaw was broken by fucking Kuro. So the world of One Piece that Oda created is oftentimes better than the arcs. Even Skypiea, which I did not like at first, and to be honest, it might not have that much relevance to the story. Well, it does. He made that happen, with the poneglyphs and stuff. But the flashback with Nolan itself, and just the whole creativity of Skypiea, that right there is just on another level. And to be honest, Nolan flashback, which doesn't have much to do with the story, well, so far, was beautiful, and he took that risk of doing that Nolan flashback for 2 months, and I'm sure people loved it. I like reading it just now when I binged it. See, One Piece has so much stuff that you forget. I dropped One Piece for 2 years when I really just dropped anime in general in 2015 when the Zoarc began, and I'm watching One Piece and rereading certain parts, and Skypiea really impressed me, and maybe I'm pretty sure a lot of that stuff is going to tie in. And I see a lot of people talking about other shonens like, this character's underutilized, this thing was left open. And a lot of them are One Piece fans. And they say this because they're used to characters being useful. Oda made his female characters useful, which can't be said for what series I'm talking about. It's unfortunate, but that's the case. Oda really, they may not be super combat savvy, but they have their own purpose. We're talking about Sakura. She has some sort of a purpose in Shippuden, but part 1, she was trash. Nami and Robin were useful from the jump. That's what I'll give Oda credit for. And there's just the amount of world building, the amount of worlds, stuff that you don't know about, figures that they bring up 10 years in advance before you even get to see, like Kaido, like Big Mom. See, the world that Oda created really is something special, and I really have nothing left to say, man. Just thank you. Thank you for 21 years, and I'm looking forward to the next 6 or 7 years. Hopefully I don't lose interest and drop the series again. But yeah, man, thank you. Oh, and the freaking cover stories. How could I forget? That's one very creative thing that he does. His world is so big that he puts an entire cover page based on something else that's happening in the world with another character. Like you see Wapol building up his kingdom. You see him gaining the trust of the people on the cover page. And then here you get to the Reverie and you see Wapol again with his own kingdom. When he's representing his own kingdom. Stuff like that, and even on the anime. And I feel bad for anime only watchers because they don't get the cover pages. They get the horrible pacing. They do get the soundtrack and the voice acting and the movement, but they don't get to see Oda's true vision, which is unfortunate. One final thing I'll give Oda and One Piece is he puts a lot of information in other chapters. Like I'll be reading One Piece and then going to My Hero. My Hero reading the chapter quick as hell. Entire chapters dedicated to fights on other series like Naruto and Bleach. One of my main complaints about One Piece at first was the fights were weak, and it still reigns true a little bit, but I prefer story over fights. And One Piece, they sacrifice fights. They don't make them 7 chapters long, but they do that in favor of story and world building. And there's just so much content in each chapter, and I don't know how he does it. And it's not good for his health. I know he smokes cigarettes. I know he's starting to work out now, but I really hope that this man could basically live to see his series end. I know he has story bibles, but it won't be the same if Toei gets a hold of that and finishes the series through the anime, or if an assistant does that, that wouldn't be cool. I would like Togashi to do that though. But yeah, Oda, Shueisha, Shonen Jump, thank you for 21 years of One Piece. I'm looking forward to more. Yeah, man, it's a great series. I'm not gonna call it the greatest, but it's up there. And as far as Shonen goes, man, it's really hard to get better than this. Yeah, man. Peace out. Thank you for watching my anime. Peace.